We're doing makeup plus talking about the book that I just read. The book I just read was You'll Never Know by Caleb Stevens. Spoilers ahead. I'm going to dissect this book from top to bottom. If you have not read this book, do not watch this video unless you want it to be spoiled for you. I went into the book blind, okay? A bunch of people on TikTok and YouTube and social media were talking about how crazy of a ride it was. So I said, obviously I need to check that out. What's crazy is I didn't bring a single Q-tip in here and I don't want to get up. Right off the bat, first chapter, we have Grant, who is going on a hike with his wife, Avery, who is described as being carefree, very free spirited. They are going for this hike that she allegedly found on Reddit. She found some thread on Reddit and she was like, I really want to try this hiking location, and he supports her, so he said, okay, great. I get to the hiking location, kind of preparing for the hike. Oh, I forgot to mention that on the way to the hike, Avery drops a bomb that she is in fact pregnant. And we find out later on that they had been struggling to conceive. So this is very exciting news for Grant. He's always wanted a family. He's like super fucking thrilled about it. He is just absolutely elated. They get out and it's very isolated. Someone else has discovered this little hiking location and they're like, I don't love that. So they go to start and Avery kind of is like, she's kind of dragging ass a little bit because someone else pulled up doesn't mean anything. So then they start to get ready to leave while they can, because the van slams open and it's some scary guy with piercing blue eyes who says that he's gonna pretty much, he needs Avery. He's gonna kidnap Avery. So our story begins. Kidnaps Avery, is holding her hostage, and pretty much puts Grant through this series of very cryptic kind of mind-altering riddles where he really has to dig deep into his own past to figure them out. While Avery is being tortured, he gets to talk to her a couple times on the phone just to make sure she's okay. I mean, this has really truly traumatized Grant. I mean, he's like, I finally found the love of my life and now they fucking took her. Like, what the fuck? When I first started the book, my first immediate thought for some reason was that he was going to automatically get his wife back, and he definitely did not. Going through the book, we have 3 separate points of view. We have Grant, we have Bailey, and we have Reed. So Grant is the husband of the wife who has been taken hostage. Bailey is a high-powered financial executive who, when we first get introduced to Bailey, we kind of, get this idea that she is very career driven, loves her son, her little son Noah, and her husband. She is very interested in going up the ranks in her job. We get her and her husband Ethan at a birthday party. Their little son Noah is playing and having a great time. But Bailey gets a call from work pretty much being like, hey, you need to come in, like, right the fuck now. She has to drag her husband and her son out, and they're both like kind of protesting, whining, being like, no, like, I don't want to go yet. And she's like, well, fucking tough shit, They end up getting into a wreck. My first impression on Grant was that he genuinely loved his wife. I really thought, oh my god, this poor guy. They made him transfer all his like cryptocurrency. They made him go to an abortion clinic, and that was crazy. I thought that some weird fucking shit was gonna happen. They made him go to an abortion clinic for one of the riddles, and I was like, that's fucked up. Like, I was scared that it was gonna go a different direction. I was scared that they were going to basically make him witness getting rid of his child that he's like wanted for so long. I really liked Grant. I think that he, at first, he seemed like a great guy. Bailey, on the other hand, I didn't love her at first. I felt like she did seem very selfish and she kind of annoyed me. She made her kid like leave a birthday party when she could have just simply had them get an Uber home. That part annoyed me a lot because I was like, what does it matter? Like, why can't you just go to work and leave your kid and your husband? And then she called her husband selfish. She was self-projecting onto her husband and calling him selfish. knowing all the time that she's the selfish one, not him. Didn't love Bailey's character at first. I thought she was very career driven and just maybe not the person that should have even had a family to begin with if she was like that self-centered on her career. Don't get me wrong, I think every person is entitled to a career. It was career and nothing else. And she kept saying, oh, I was trying to do what was right for my family and build a life for them. And it's like, yeah, but at what cost? There should be a line. She fucked up on that one. We find out that in the wreck, her child was unfortunately pronounced deceased. The scene, as well as her husband, she's the only one that survived, and the driver of the vehicle was also deceased. The only remaining survivor is Bailey. I did not feel remorseful for this girl. You kind of follow Bailey and she's kind of, you know, she's feeling suicidal. She's having a lot of regret in her life. She's not working anymore. It took losing her family to realize that she didn't need to fucking work as extreme as she was. We meet her brother Ben, very supportive of her. He stops her from taking her own life and he's like, no, you need closure. Now we find out that the person in the accident that was driving, that was the cause of the accident, was, I forget her name, daughter of a really huge corporation. So she's a bazillionaire. The father, kind of, no one really hears about him much afterwards because he's obviously distraught that his daughter has passed away. He said that she was drunk driving. We have this, you know, bazillionaire's CEO's daughter drunk behind the wheel of a car, causes this accident that causes Bailey to lose her whole family. Also find out that the daughter was on the spectrum of some sort. She was just trying to navigate her life, right? We're finding out about Bailey and Ben, and we're finding out all these details about her accident through the stepmom of the daughter that passed away, because surprise, surprise, the CEO father has also recently passed away. Can't get closure from the dad. She also obviously can't get closure from the daughter either, because that's kind of why Ben brings her. He ends up bringing her to the house that's, you know, the people own. Lo and behold, the husband, the father of the daughter that caused the accident, has passed away, but the stepmom gives Bailey all this fucking tea. My stepdaughter was not driving that car. Bailey and Ben are like, the fuck? And she's like, yeah, Adrian was driving that car. So now I'm thinking, who the fuck is Adrian? 3 point of views. We have Grant, who is the guy who has gotten his wife kidnapped and is being held hostage. We have Bailey, who was the career-driven woman who lost her family tragically in a car accident. And we now have Reed. I believe the first point of view, if I can remember correctly, of Reed was when he was 6 years old. Basically, it's him kind of overhearing his mom and dad fighting all the time, which upsets him, obviously. Talks about how his dad always is drinking beer, going from job to job. Doesn't ever say what the mom actually did. I don't know if she had a job or what her story was. I know that she seemed very abusive towards the dad, very mentally abusive towards Reed. I felt bad for Reed. I thought that we were going to find out that Reed was the kidnapper of Avery, Grant's wife. That would make sense. You know, we're getting a villain origin backstory. We're getting, how did Reed become this crazed kidnapper? Like, couldn't figure out how Bailey was looped into the mix. I remember reaching a point in the book where I was a little frustrated about the fact that I could not figure out how they were all going to tie together. I thought Bailey was maybe going to be the one that was in charge of the money. Like maybe she was part of how Grant got his money. Thought that for a little bit. Reed, abusive childhood, mentally draining childhood, not having a good time at all. Right? His mom leaves, never turns around, never comes back. His dad moves him all across the country to all different places, chasing jobs, running away from problems, convictions, that kind of stuff, you know. Reed and his dad start to scam people together. They pretend that Reed is in the Boy Scouts, take money from people, and pretend that it's for different charities, and that's pretty much how they make a living for a good while. Until one fucking person answers the door, and it's like the district manager, like the big head honcho of the fucking troops of America. So of course he's like, well, your troop doesn't exist and you're a fucking liar and get off my property and I'm calling the cops. Reed's dad freaks the hell out and ends up accidentally killing the guy. Reed ends up in different foster cares and going back and forth between that and his aunt, who like does not like him. Actually, allegedly she didn't like him. I didn't really get that vibe. I kind of felt like she just couldn't be bothered, which it's like, I don't know. She still allowed him to stay there, but she did also kind of make him go through foster care and stuff like that too. So she's kind of, I don't know. She doesn't sound like the best person in the world. Reed goes and he stays with his aunt and out of foster care, not having the best time. Out of all of the characters, honestly, I felt like Reed was the one that I felt the most sorry for. He had the worst backstory. His, you know, he didn't choose all these things that happened to him. They just kept, shitty shit just kept happening to him. That's not his fault. Find out that he actually has this girl that he fell in love with, and when they were super young, and she ends up getting pregnant, ghosting him a little bit while she figures out what she wants to do, and she wants to get rid of the baby because she's just too young, and you know, Reed doesn't like that. He really wants to have a baby. This is part of the story where I was like, oh, this is all starting to add up to me. It makes sense to me because, you know, maybe we find out that that's why Reed, because in my head I'm still thinking that he's the kidnapper. Well, he's not. So going back to Bailey for a second, Adrian is the guy that the stepmom of the girl, the bazillionaire's daughter, right, who caused the car accident, says her boyfriend Adrian was driving the car. I just remembered the girl's name. I had to look it up. I'm lying. I didn't remember. I just looked it up. The girl's name is Evelyn Nash. So Evelyn Nash, we find out, was not driving the car. Adrian was driving the car, her boyfriend. Okay. The stepmom of Evelyn, she turns around and tells Bailey and her brother, hey, like, I hired a PI, or we hired a PI to figure out what the fuck. His name is Zane. Bald dude with a daughter who has an illness. He's just trying to pay for the treatment for it, which we find out is extremely expensive. Seems to be a really great dad, loves his kid. Will do anything for his kid, right? Bailey goes and meets Zane. He tells her, Adrian, okay, that's not even his only fake name. And she goes, fake name? What the fuck? Adrian, who is Evelyn Nash's boyfriend. Evelyn Nash is the one that killed Bailey's family, alleged. Adrian is kind of a scammer at heart. And he goes by various different identities and scams women and then disappears and then picks up a new identity, scams women. We find out that he has done this with several women over the course of a few years, I believe. Come up with a fake name and persona for every single one. The way that he dresses, the way that he acts, what he does, like, it would change based on the girl that he was trying to scam. Bailey's like, what the fuck? She finds out obviously that Adrian was the one driving the car. She also finds out that that's not his fucking real name at all. I want revenge on this fucker. Who is Adrian, you might ask? Well, Adrian is Reed, and he's also Grant. Jaw on the fucking floor, bro, because what do you mean? Reed learned this scamming con, right, from his father, okay? And him and his father scammed together. Great. Awesome. Fantastic. He's been doing it for a long time for all of these different women, scamming the fuck out of them. The first girlfriend set him off. He was so depressed. He told one girl he was going to open her up a gym, and he worked for a gym and blah, 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 blah. And then he just disappeared. Reed has this traumatic childhood, learns how to scam from his dad. Creates a whole life based off of scamming women. Reed's father hated women, and he pretty much raised Reed to fucking hate women. So that's why Reed hated women. Adrian is the boyfriend of Evelyn Nash. Find out from Reed's point of view, aka Adrian's point of view. He was trying to scam Evelyn. He already took all her money. She found out. Sounded like Reed was getting real feelings for Evelyn. It seemed like more like intimate feelings. It just sounded a little bit different than the other women that he had described, and that he really didn't want to hurt her, and he didn't want her to know how much of a shitty person he was. Driving around, she's confronting him. He's freaking the hell out. He's like, what the fuck am I gonna do? And they end up getting into a wreck. He does not wreck the car on purpose. They just get into a wreck because she's like trying to like start a fight with him pretty much. And she was drunk, because she was like drinking herself into a depression because she just found out that her love of her life is scamming her. She was not driving the car. Reed, aka Adrian, aka Grant, puts her in the driver's seat. He sees that there's a deceased child and a deceased man and a deceased woman, and he's like, oh my fuck, like I can't believe I just did that, blah blah blah. He pretty much was like, that's the last time I'm gonna do this to anyone. That's it. Bailey finds all of this out from Zane, the investigator. She convinces Zane to help her to get revenge on Reed, Adrian, Grant. She pretty much promises him millions of dollars because he needs millions of dollars to treat his daughter's illness. Zane and Bailey have this whole plan. Bailey turns herself into Avery. Avery is Grant's new wife and the one that got kidnapped. Thinking like very simple-minded plot twist that could be something that happened, right? I'm thinking like, oh, it's probably the wife is doing something. The whole time it's fucking not even a real like relationship, because Avery and Bailey are the same fucking person. Bailey turned herself into someone that she thought that Grant would fall in love with. Reed, Grant, Adrian would fall in love with, which he did. The part of the book that I thought was very interesting, it seemed like Avery / Bailey was actually feeling feelings for Reed / Grant. They're like inner monologues and like what goes on between the two of them at the end. Like he's like very hurt because he was like done scamming women and he really wanted to make a better life for himself, and he was so excited to have this baby. This happens to him and he's like seriously? Bailey kind of starts to reminisce a little bit and think about how different Grant was in the relationship compared to her own husband Ethan, who has passed away. Stopped herself from doing that. I found it interesting that she kind of had fallen for this guy, and it's like, again, yes, Reed is a bad person, but I think, you know, and it doesn't excuse the things that he's done in the book, but it does give some context onto why he's done the things that he's done. So it's like, he didn't kill anybody on purpose, he didn't hurt anybody on purpose until he was older, and then he was scamming people because that's all he knew, you know, that was his childhood. There's some side characters like Officer Gunn and an officer named Officer Gunn, by the way, which is so silly. All end up being like Zane and Zane's older son. He has the younger daughter who is battling an illness, and then he has his son. The way that they reveal the truth to him is insane. They make him dig up a grave that he was worried was going to have his unborn child in it, but really it was just pictures of Bailey and her family. Her son Noah's little Captain America mask that he always wore, like this is who you killed. And Bailey, I mean, she spent, I think it was like a year it took her to plot with this guy Zane to make Grant pay for what he did to her by taking her family. Did he mean to do it? No, but she also found out that he wasn't the best person in the world, so it's like, but again, I did kind of feel bad for Reed / Grant at some points because he did have a bad childhood, and it kind of felt like he didn't really have a choice. His own aunt didn't even want to let him stay with her. Like, I felt for him at the end. I did. Finding out that the girl that you loved so much actually found someone that he really trusted, and he grew up hating women because of his father and the relationship with his mom, well, lack thereof. The one girl that you like, you know, Evelyn, he started to fall for, but Avery, I mean, he was like, I forgot to mention that Bailey modeled her look after the girl that Reed had fallen in love with during high school, who he gotten pregnant. So she literally had like facial remodeling and shit done, hair done, started dressing differently just to look like his type, which is insane. Bonkers, really. I think it's a really good revenge story. I think taking it to that extreme is crazy. I think if he had done it on purpose, it would almost make a little bit more sense, but Bailey's kind of motive was that she didn't really have anything to lose at that point because she had already lost everything that meant something to her. I felt like there was something between Bailey and Reed. They both seemed shook by hurting each other. Like, you could feel it. It was like genuinely like, oh fuck, like this sucks. Like I trusted this girl. I love this girl. I did it in about a day. It's a wild ride. The way that the characters are developed is interesting because you almost feel bad for all of them. I went through stages in the book where I felt bad for everyone, and then stages where I felt like I did not feel bad for some of them. It keeps you guessing your own morals and your own shit. My favorite character was, I don't think I had one. I want to say Reed. Young Reed didn't have a lot of support, and he just didn't have a good upbringing, which then led him to do all of these things that he ended up doing. At first, I did like Grant's character because he's like a concerned husband and, you know, soon to be dad. But then as the story went on, I was like, oh, you're also Reed, but you're an adult. So I talked about the biggest plot twist, but there was a lot of like little ones or like really shocking moments that happen that I wouldn't have guessed would happen. Example, Zane having a son who we find out has been helping with the whole plan. And Zane pretty much at the end turns on Bailey, tells her like, okay, well, like, sucks for you, but like, I'm gonna kill you and take all your money because I have a daughter to save. Then Grant, aka Reed, and the son have kind of like a gun showdown, and Reed, aka Grant, ends up taking the son's life. Reed / Grant killed Zane. He didn't have to kill him, chose to save Bailey. Get this monologue from him pretty much saying that he feels terrible and he did really love her as Avery. He pretty much understands why she did what she did. Kind of was like, I don't want her to have to worry about this fucking crazy PI coming after her. He kills him and tells Bailey in an email, like, you don't have to worry about anything. Like, nobody's coming for you. Like, you can just live your life. Which I thought was a really good character moment for him. Because like I said, I'm so on the fence about his character still. His love for Avery, you know, fake Bailey, was pretty, I don't know, it was pretty touching, pretty remarkable, pretty cute. At the end of the book, there's a QR code or like a little website thing that you can go to, and you can read an extra chapter, which is a letter that Reed / Grant has written to Bailey. And it's very sweet, it's very touching. You also find out that Reed had tried to maintain a relationship with his dad while his dad was serving his time for killing that guy. His dad passed away and nobody told him. And I was like, that's fucked up. Just a little bit fucked up. Recap. This book, wild fucking ride. It will take you through so many different levels of confusion and fear and stress, just crazy ass shit. Amazing book. I've never read anything by Caleb Stevens before. I do want to read more of his books because the way that he writes his characters is stunning. The fact that I'm literally here still to this day thinking about these fictional characters and like wondering who I really truly feel bad for and who I relate to and all that stuff is crazy. I give it 5 stars on Goodreads. Books like this that I don't know that I would reread, but I do want other people to read it so I can talk about it with them. You know, if you read You'll Never Know by Caleb Stevens, who you liked, who you felt bad for, who you didn't feel bad for, and all of the above.